Hello everyone. It's 2:30 in the morning and I'm outside on my back deck. Um, I said I'd try some different locales this season and thought I'd do an outside and might as well get that over with in September while it's still warm enough to do so. So that's why I'm doing that. Um, uh, the, la the last video I did was kind of rushed and this one probably will be as well because, you know, it's the wee hours of Sunday morning and I'm doing it now for the sole reason I'm doing it right now is that tomorrow will be too late. So I don't know if I'm fully caught up on all the changes, but I know enough about last year and I know some of the changes, so I'll base my picks on that and hopefully it'll do me some good. So bear with me over maybe the next week or two while I'm refamiliarizing myself with all the teams because I really didn't do any research, unfortunately, but I'm still going to do this for you. So the first game of Week 1 was obviously the Thursday night game, which already took place. It was New Orleans and Green Bay, and in the last video I picked Green Bay, and so I'm already 1-0. So that happened. So we'll go down the Sunday and Monday list now. Starting with the Atlanta Falcons and the Chicago Bears. This is a game that either team could win. If I'm looking at offense, Atlanta. If I'm looking at defense, Chicago. Big picture, might be a bit of an intangible, but I'm going to say Chicago has both the offense and the defense to do it. It may be somewhat of an upset pick, but I'm going to pick the Chicago Bears to beat the Atlanta Falcons tomorrow or today, whatever day it is. So my pick is Chicago. Let's move on to the Philadelphia Eagles and the St. Louis Rams. St. Louis is a nice up-and-coming team. I think Sam Bradford is going to have an even better year than last year, but the Eagles are the Eagles. The Eagles are who we thought they were. I should have used that joke for the last one because it was the Bears, but the Eagles are who we thought they were. Michael Vick, you know how strong the Eagles are. They're a potential Super Bowl appearing team, if not a Super Bowl winning team. So, I think it's a pretty easy pick. I'm going to pick the Philadelphia Eagles in that one. So, move on to the Detroit Lions and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Detroit is another team that hasn't been too successful, but is kind of on the rise. I like what I see out of Tampa Bay. They were kind of a surprise team last year, and they just missed the playoffs. So they're one of those teams that could do some damage, and against a team like Detroit, I think they will. So I'm going to pick the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to beat the Detroit Lions in Week 1. Moving on, finally an interesting one. Not that the other ones weren't interesting, but we'll go to the Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, easily, earlier this week I would have picked the Jacksonville Jaguars, but they, inexplicably, I don't understand this move. They released David Garrard, their starting quarterback, and they're going to go with Luke McCown as their quarterback for Week 1 at least. I really don't understand that. So, and when you look at Tennessee, they brought in Matt Hasselbeck from Seattle, and they have Chris Johnson. I know a lot of people are looking at Houston in the AFC South, but don't discount Tennessee. I mean, Hasselbeck may not be the best quarterback in the league, but he has been to a Super Bowl, and with Chris Johnson behind him, Tennessee could be a scary team. So, and I do think they will beat the Jacksonville Jaguars in Week 1 at least. So, Tennessee Titans are my pick. Go to the other AFC South matchup, the Indianapolis Colts and the Houston Texans. Goes without saying, Indianapolis is in a lot of trouble this year. Don't think I have to go into that, but yeah, pretty easy pick. Without Peyton Manning, the Indianapolis Colts are kind of a shell of what they once were. So, and they could be without him for the whole year. They could be without him for 3 months. I don't know, but it's a long time. And definitely makes the Houston Texans stronger than the Colts. So the Houston Texans are going to be my pick for Week 1. Okay. at another division matchup, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns. Cincinnati was a playoff team 2 years ago, back when they had Carson Palmer and Ocho Cinco, and those guys are gone now. Ocho Cinco has gone to the Patriots. Carson Palmer has gone to God knows where. Their new quarterback is Andy Dalton, who's a second-round pick. Don't know much about him, but for a quarterback to be a second-round pick and end up becoming the starting quarterback, I don't know. Cleveland's going with Colt McCoy in the season opener, I believe, and he's a nice up-and-comer, and that's good enough for me. I think the Cleveland Browns are going to beat the Cincinnati Bengals. Kind of a small prediction, I know, not knowing a whole lot about Andy Dalton. You know, he could be the next Favre. Who knows? Could be the next Brady. Brady was like a 6th-round pick, and look what happened to him. But not knowing much about Dalton, this is the safe pick, so I'm picking Cleveland. Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, those of you who watched last year, you know the Buffalo is my team, and they are very, very hard for me to pick. Unfortunately. I love to support my team, but looking at it realistically, I'm not going to win a lot of games. They're not going to win a lot of games this year either, I don't think. Going with Ryan Fitzpatrick as the quarterback. Again, I don't think he is the quarterback of the future. I never have. Kansas City was a playoff team last year. There's no reason to believe they won't be a strong team again. So my pick is the Kansas City Chiefs. Another division matchup, Pittsburgh and Baltimore. This is another one that could go either way. Pittsburgh made it to the Super Bowl last year, almost won it. A lot of people thought they would, but Green Bay kind of stole it. Still a very good team. Baltimore still a very good team. A lot of people thought they might make the Super Bowl last year. And they are two teams with a lot of potential. This is a very, very tough pick. This might be the toughest pick of the week. Hard for me to say, but I got to go with the team that made the Super Bowl last year. They're still a very strong team. They're still, and not to say Baltimore isn't, but I got to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers in this one. I just have to. It's a feeling. Just call it a feeling. I hate making picks based on feelings, but yeah. New York Giants, Washington Redskins. Well, there's one Manning left in the league, at least until Peyton comes back. Washington lost Donovan McNabb, who wasn't all that productive with them last year anyway, but it is still kind of a downgrade for them. And the Giants are the Giants still. I don't know if they're the strongest team. They're probably not even the strongest team in their division, but they are one of those teams that can do some damage against the right team, and I think Washington is the right team for the Giants to do some damage against, so New York Giants are my pick against Washington. Move on to Minnesota and San Diego. Minnesota is Donovan McNabb's new team, and they were not that successful with Brett Favre last year. Brett Favre is finally happy trails to Brett Favre. And I don't see them with McNabb. McNabb is, he's younger, obviously. Everyone's younger than Brett Favre, but I don't know. I don't see a whole lot of difference in Minnesota, even with the different quarterback, And San Diego, always been a strong team. They have been for years. They got off to a slow start last year, but they still have the potential, and I think San Diego is a team that is they could potentially turn some heads, and I think they do beat the Minnesota Vikings in Week 1, so that is where my pick is going to be, San Diego. Carolina, Arizona. A couple of new quarterbacks. Carolina with the first overall pick in the NFL draft. Cam Newton is their new quarterback. And Arizona picked up Kevin Kolb, who was the backup in Philadelphia last year. Who actually started as the starter in Philadelphia last year, but then Vic kind of went on his run, and you know what happened after that. So, Cobb is in Arizona now. It is kind of hard to go against the first overall pick, especially against a team that is not great like Arizona, but I gotta go with experience here. I gotta go with experience. I gotta pick Arizona. Cobb has the receivers. Carolina was nothing last year. Carolina will be better this year, I think, but it's hard to not get better from 2-14. But they'll be better this year. But I think this is a game that Arizona wins, so that's where I'm going. Arizona. Go to Seattle and San Francisco now. Seattle, they won the division last year, just barely. Probably one of the worst division-winning teams in a long time. And they lost their quarterback after that. Matt Hasselbeck going to Tennessee, as I said earlier. And they're going with Charlie Whitehurst. I don't know. This is tough. And San Francisco was, it was a weak division all around. San Francisco was not that great, but this may be a bit of an upset pick, but I'm going to go with Seattle in this one. Hard to really explain why. I just kind of hard to explain, but I kind of see Seattle holding on to some of the strengths from last year, even without their quarterback. I kind of see them still being the same type of team, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so I'm going to pick Seattle. It may not be the wise pick, but yeah, I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stick with Seattle. Gotta take chances sometime. So that's it for the afternoon games. The Sunday night game is the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Jets. Tony Romo coming back off that injury. Even before the injury, Dallas got off to a kind of a slow start last year. Kind of hard to guess which Dallas we will see in 2011. And we know the Jets are proven. Mark Sanchez has proven himself. The Jets' running game has proven itself. They've been a force to be reckoned with over the past couple of years, and I don't think that will be any different this year. I'm going to pick the New York Jets to beat the Dallas Cowboys in the Sunday night game. I don't know how well Dallas will do this year, but I'm picking the Jets in this one. So that's a Sunday night game. In Week 1, as always, there are 2 Monday night games. The first one is the New England Patriots and the Miami Dolphins. That's an easy one. New England. Don't really have to get into that one. They had the best regular season record last year. Yeah. New England's where I'm going with this. Miami's not going to do anything against them. So an easy one, yeah. And the final game of Week 1 is the late Monday night game, which is the Oakland Raiders and the Denver Broncos. Oakland kind of surprised a few people. Did a lot better than a lot of people thought they would, including myself. I kind of think, though, I don't really trust Kyle Orton as a starting quarterback. I think Tebow is going to get that job eventually, but I don't know if Kyle Orton really has a future in Denver. But I do like Denver's running game. Marino is a beast. I'm kind of leaning towards Denver. Denver is going to be my pick. Okay. So that does it for Week 1. I'll recap them all. So Green Bay, which already happened, was my Thursday night pick, which I did in the last video, and that was right. So at least I got one going for me. And I picked Chicago to beat the Falcons. I picked the Eagles to beat the Rams. Tampa Bay to beat the Lions. Tennessee to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. Houston to beat Indianapolis. The Browns to beat the Bengals, the Chiefs to beat the Bills, Pittsburgh to beat Baltimore, the New York Giants to beat the Washington Redskins, San Diego to beat Minnesota, Arizona to beat Carolina, Seattle to beat San Francisco, kind of the one that I'm least sure about, but whatever, I'm going to stick with it. The New York Jets to beat the Dallas Cowboys, the New England Patriots to beat the Miami Dolphins, and the Denver Broncos to beat the Oakland Raiders. So those are my Week 1 picks. We'll see a little bit later in the week how right those picks were, and I will see you later this week. Enjoy Week 1, everybody. Have a good one.